My
Oh
God.
my goodness.
My God.
If you was up early enough, y'all would have caught an excellent, excellent Olympic game. I know y'all don't care about us talking about the Olympics because of free agency. I know y'all don't care about it because of I don't know how many people keep joining the Lakers, but Doc, this France versus Slovenia game, it was a thriller in Tokyo. It was awesome.
Well, that's
Awesome.
good. I did see
Slovenia's
that.
offense against France defense. It was a match made in Gotti Haven.
So I'll say that Sir Nicholas Batum came up with a huge block. They're calling it game saving.
It was game saving. It was like right there. It literally decided the game, actually.
So I know we give him a lot
the
of
big
flack.
takeaway, of course, is I still give him a lot of flack. I mean, we give him flack for his offense, but his defense is still, top notch. Like we're not
Definitely.
talking about the defense, but when he decides to shoot, 2 for 11, like I
Right.
kind of have a problem with that. But of course, the bigger story heading out of here is, of course, the risk injury of Luka Doncic, who was a warrior. He crashed into the plastic, the hard plastic where the commentators sit, and yeah, he aggravated. He was pretty much just hammered most of the game, and then that happened. So he was really, really reluctant to shoot because his body is giving out. Plus, with all the minutes that he's been playing, but big shout outs to him. But of course, France move on to the gold medal game as they take on the juggernaut. Not really, but people want to call it now because they're winning. USA men's basketball team. I'll definitely watch this game. Let's see if they can take home gold.
Hey, you already know.
But that was our 2-minute Olympic update because no one cares about it. This is Debate Amongst Friends Thursday. I am the Professor John Gotti, and that guy right there, he's Doc Leister, the podcasting beast.
I don't know. Am I a podcasting beast? Or are you the Professor John Gotti, the king of RNG, the troll master, the data analyzing ninja, the conqueror of his own fate, the newly formed Terminator? Ladies and gentlemen, the cleaner.
Wow. Best podcasting machine. Tranquilo. Doc, el idolo, the $1 million man himself. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, boy. I'm doing pretty dang good there, boy.
Because everyone's got a price.
Hilarious. But we had NFL news. Speaking of price, what a great transitional word. It seems the Bucks found Todd Bowles' price as they extend him, giving him a new 3-year contract. Bowles, obviously age 57, had a long history with Bruce Arians from their stint in Arizona. And he also played defensive back for Arians at Temple, stays with him, and Bowles becomes the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's per Adam Schefter. No details on the price here, but based on what I'm showing here, if he's going to be the highest paid defensive coordinator, that means he's getting bank. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes over for the Bucks after Bruce Arians does decide to retire. I know obviously Byron Leftwich would still be there, but I mean, based on the tenure and experience and the fact that they just gave him an extension, I would say there's a high chance that Todd gets the nod, but that's speculation, and we won't do that there.
Nope. But of course, in other news,
yeah, I was going to say,
we had ourselves a high But now we have to go to low.
Yeah, super low.
Offensive lineman of the New York Football Giants, Joe Looney, decided to hang him up a week after signing with the Giants. He said his body just can't take it. Now, Doc, we didn't even talk about the drama in the Big Apple. Technically, it's the Garden State, but you know how
Not
people
getting,
feel about that.
we know, we know, we know. But according to Mr. Looney, who is the third Giants player to leave camp since last week,
Yep.
himself, including Kelvin Benjamin and Todd Davis.
Kevin Benjamin
Obviously,
got cut.
well, it seems as though all of this kind of stems from not the same brawl, but I feel like there's a willingness to try and install a culture, even that's carrying over from last season. And some players just aren't kind of falling in line with that. But apparently, there was some increased conditioning, running, and push ups following a brawl that happened at the end of Tuesday's practice. But I can't see some extra running and push ups being the issue with a 10-year veteran. And that's exactly what Nate Soldier said. He said he's a longtime veteran. I don't think one time of exercise would change his decision to continue playing football. He states that he felt his body just wasn't giving him what he needed. Um, he didn't want to take up a roster spot, and he decided to retire, which I can't blame him.
Next man step up.
Yeah, I mean that's it.
That's all I can say
wasn't.
there. Like there's nothing more you can say there. Like this is training camp.
And honestly, I don't think it was a situation where obviously they just signed him, so he was going to compete, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think obviously he gives them veteran depth, but I don't think that he was in line to start. But it is a blow for the Giants. Obviously, they'll have to go and sign someone else. But next man up is correct.
Yep.
And I guess that's a great segue into the next man up, into the NBA free agency, right? We finished yesterday. Nothing really happened after we finished. I know we talked about Tony Bradley around 11 a.m. Since then, Victor Oladipo agreed to a one-year deal with the Miami Heat, which is something that he always wanted, so it's kind of perfect. Terrence Davis signed a 2-year deal with the Sacramento Kings. Golden State actually traded Eric Pascal, which I'm pretty surprised because he had a pretty good upside. But they traded him to Utah, which is good for Utah because they get a solid role player, somebody that can come in and give them some quality minutes for a protected future second-round pick. So that's the part that's kind of a slap in the face, and I hope that doesn't come back to bite the Warriors. So I feel like this is when yesterday started getting interesting. After medical consultations, seven-time NBA All-Star forward LaMarcus Aldridge is seriously considering a return to the NBA. I wonder who he will go to, Johnny.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of different teams. I mean, the Lakers.
The Lakers.
He's going to choose the Lakers.
He would choose the Lakers. It's very unfortunate, but I highly doubt it. Either that, or honestly, I think his game would fit the Bucks personally.
He's either going to go to the Lakers or go back to the Nets. That is it.
God, it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing. But we'll see what happens with LaMarcus Aldridge. Maybe he'll choose the Knicks.
So the Lakers because he won't be required to play heavy minutes.
That's true. which I don't think he would have been playing heavy minutes. I don't think he played in heavy minutes regardless of what team he played for, honestly, because I mean his time is slowly but surely it was fading. I thought he was playing pretty well in
Wow,
San
San Antonio.
Antonio, but I don't know. I don't know. But anywho, at 6 p.m. yesterday, the five-team trade finally went through, sending Spencer Dinwiddie to the Washington Wizards on a sign and trade, 3 year, $62 million deal. Um, the Wizards will send Chandler Hutchinson and a 2022 second round pick to San Antonio, while Brooklyn gets a 2024 and a 2025 swap pick from the Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
This is the actual trade that also included the Lakers, in which they received Russell Westbrook, which gave them Kuzma, Harold, and a slew of other people, and the pick that got them Isaiah Jackson, and they also got Isaiah Todd. So the Wizards, unlike the Thunder that we talked about yesterday, it seems as though they actually have a plan. Um, and it's coming together really, really nicely. They have some young pieces. They got a little younger. They got rid of Westbrook and that contract, and they pick up some really, really solid pieces to go along with Bradley Beal and Hachimura, which it's funny because there was a tweet yesterday. I wonder if the Rockets will buy out John Wall, and then of course Bradley Beal put the little googly eyes. But it's very, very unlikely. That would be ridiculous. It would be interesting to see if that happens. I highly doubt it though. And then Saban Lee, I've never heard of him. I'm sorry, Mr. Lee. I know we're brethren, but he
Yikes.
is
He
returning
went
to the
there.
Detroit Pistons on a 3 year deal. I've never even seen his name in the game, like let alone in real life. I've never even heard this name. Saban Lee is returning to the Pistons on a 3 year deal. Yeah, have you heard? I've never heard the guy's name. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
And a Lee, I would expect to know all the Lees in the league, but yeah, this is not one I've heard. But moving on to today,
he went to Vanderbilt, which is probably why you don't know.
no, but it doesn't seem like he's, I mean, obviously
He was
he
part of the
played.
draft last year, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm surprised. Like, and he averaged almost 6 points a game, so it's not like he's like scrub. Maybe because he played for Detroit, I guess. And their season was kind
We're
of.
just gonna move on there. We're just gonna move on there. We're gonna sit there and
Oh my
disrespect the
God.
league like that
I'm
on
not
the
trying to.
show.
I'm not trying to
We're
put
gonna
him out,
move
man.
on
I
down,
just
and
feel
we're
like we should
heading
know more, man.
to this morning. Dead at night. Danny Green has agreed to a 2-year, $20 million deal to return to the 76ers.
Do you think that's too much? Do you think that's solid? He's a great defender, we know.
So if it works out, great. Hey, they're beef of the night, literally. If it didn't turn out great, well, Sixers are going to 76ers themselves.
Of course. I don't know. I mean, I know that after his injury, they did start to struggle. So maybe his particular
but it wasn't
style.
just him that caused him to struggle, though. Like, and we really don't like saying like, well, this person played, and all this other stuff, because of course you go back to the Houston thing.
Oh, don't go there.
That's what I'm saying. But we would go back to the whole Houston thing and whatnot. Like, we don't look at the what ifs. So of course, earlier this morning we had New York Knicks Julius Randle agreeing to a 4-year, $117 million extension. Honestly, no, stop it. I'll stop the stream right now. Honestly, we got this extension at a cheap value, if you really think about it. That's a cheap value. That's a cheap value. For what he was actually asking for, that's a pretty cheap value.
I mean, the deal is still 5 years. It's still the value of 5 years, 140 million. So I
Yes.
mean, that's I don't think it's about the same to me. I don't know if he was eligible for one of those 200 max deals.
No. Now, if you would
Yeah,
have gave him
so
that $200 million deal, we'd be singing it. I'll be singing the different tune this morning because I'll be pissed.
I mean, I think you have to like do certain things to be eligible. You got to make the All Star team. You got to do this. You got to do that. Like I think there's a few. I forget what the rules are, but there are so many like different things. But
I think that stems more because of the Mozgov deal that happened that one year, where he had that max contract. Like as soon as free agency started,
didn't deserve it.
No.
Yikes! But I mean, I'm happy. I feel like the Knicks have done great. I don't know who was able to plug Nolan's mouth and just like remove him from the freaking.
It was me, Austin. It was me.
It's like they just removed him from the equation. It's almost like he's not even there anymore.
Which is exactly how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so it's been really, really good. It's been a breath of fresh air, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But let's look at some of the remaining top 10 free agents still available. Maybe those dominoes will drop. Obviously, we have Kawhi, 30 years old.
We don't really have to talk.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about Kawhi. I mean, I would be honest.
Okay.
This is taking an incredibly long time. I assume it's allowing the Clippers to sign. I don't know because they're already over the cap, so I don't know how many people they can actually sign. But
well, I guess they're trying to see who else they can get at like a lower salary, kind of like what the Lakers are doing. Getting Malik Monk 4 years into his career for only $1 million. See, just. But yes, Kawhi will resign. Maybe they're just negotiating a particular contract for him.
I hope that's the case.
Maybe he's trying to get incentivized for certain things, like if he plays X amount of games, he'll get like an extra whatever.
I mean, I hope that's the situation. Obviously, the Clippers have somewhat of the power. They can always, help him execute a sign and trade. But I mean, who would jump in that? At this point, people have spent their money. So it would be interesting. But Kawhi still hangs in the balance, and his running mate Reggie Jackson also still. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, he was making the minimum last season.
Of course. Now, I don't even know if he's actually going to come back to the Clippers.
Oh, yeah, no idea.
Because he played well beyond that contract.
Yeah, there's no way he goes for a minimum salary. But, it's like, who needs a guard? I think at this point, it's like, I know he's a great player. He's 31. He's a solid player. 23 minutes per game, about 11 points, almost 4 assists per game. He played really, really well. So I don't believe that he'll be taking a minimum deal. So I guess it depends on where he wants to go. But I'm assuming that the Clippers will probably want to hold on to him because he played really well once Kawhi went down.
I agree.
Yikes.
And also just a quick little critique. NBA.com, get your player tracker updated, please.
Yeah, that's why I didn't. It was so tough to find this list here, so I understand what you're saying. Next, we have Dennis.
Like we have them their betting site up and running, but you don't have your free agency tracker running.
Right. WTF, right?
Come on.
So we have Dennis Schroeder, obviously played with the Lakers last season, the runner-up to the Sixth Man of the Year. Um,
Yeah, he
I
ain't coming
don't
back.
think he's going back to
He
the
he has he
Lakers.
has overstayed his welcome with that playoff performance.
But I think it's also an opportunity for him to fly. This could be an opportunity for a team who really needs a playmaker um, at guard. I would have said the Knicks prior to their getting Kimba.
No, we didn't
Maybe,
want him. Or at least I didn't want him.
maybe the Nets can pick him up. I don't know who does it though. That's a great. He's a great player. Maybe he ends up maybe going back to OKC. Um, but I hopefully he can go ahead and find a home, as well as the next person, which I read interesting earlier. Lauri Markkinen, um, restricted free agent. He definitely has untapped potential. Almost
Yeah.
14 points, almost 6 rebounds a game, only playing 25 minutes. I'm not sure what the Bulls' plan is to do
Does
with
the
him.
Rockets have enough cap space to get him right now?
No, it would have to be a sign and trade. And the thing about that is that there are people saying that one person said, if Green is the guy that we just drafted, obviously, if Green is the guy, do we really want to have him centered around Wood and freaking Eric Gordon? So disrespect to them, right? But I don't know, Mark, where Markkinen would go. I'm hoping that I hope he gets a chance. Just like I'm hoping Bobby Portis gets a chance to actually play with the Bucks in a little bit more of a higher capacity. Um, but yeah, Lauri Markkinen is still out there. Obviously, this list wasn't updated just yet, but Danny Green obviously re-signed with the 76ers. Kelly Oubre Jr. still remains unsigned. Pretty good shooter,
I still think
um,
he's gonna come back to the Warriors.
which it makes sense since they went ahead and traded Eric Pascal. Uh, I know Kelly Oubre was somebody that the Rockets, wanted at one point, but I don't know if that will happen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's someone
So
else who Doc was talking about before the podcast. Dante Exum is still available.
he is, and I'm sure his stock is rising because people are watching him dominate, right,
Mm-hmm.
and become a legend. So we'll see how that goes. Next, we have Josh Hart. Obviously, played for the Pelicans. He's restricted, so they could be waiting to see if somebody else offers him a deal before they go ahead and give him money. Young
Yep.
guard, so restrictions. Next, we have the Pistons. Hamadou Diallo, another guard. I mean, obviously they just drafted a guard and brought in a few people, so he's restricted. They may be waiting to see if someone gives him a deal to see if they want to match. So I have to keep an eye on that. And the last two, actually, nope, the last two here. Paul Millsap, uh,
Yep.
unrestricted free agent, still getting buckets. Somebody that I feel like I'm hoping the Lakers or one of those teams don't sign. I love to see Paul Millsap go and mentor some young players somewhere. Maybe go have him go somewhere where you just drafted a power forward or a small forward, and you want him to learn the ropes. I think Paul Millsap will fit great into that particular role. We'll have to wait and see. And then last is Kim Birch, and 6'9", 233-pound forward. You know, 23 minutes a game. I believe. Oh yeah, he was actually. I want to say he played for the Bulls. Let's see. Did he play for the Bulls? I do not see him. I want to say he did play for the Bulls, but no, he played for the Raptors. That's exactly what he
Yep.
played for. But it looks like the Raptors are leaning towards re-signing him to a long-term contract, so he may be off the board as well.
Well,
So,
Doc, you forgot the most important person,
well, it's not that I forgot the most important person. That person's not on this list.
Frank the Tank.
I assume Frank will be back with his previous team. I don't know. I love me some Frank, but I don't know. I think Lou Williams is also out there.
I think
So
he is, yes.
I mean, there's some good players out there that are still out in free agency. So I expect the Heat. I expect the Nets. Um, I expect the Bulls at this point to continue building. And even the Knicks, I think they have to make a decision on Mitchell Robinson and decide if that's the way to
Oh, they
go.
picked up his option.
No, not that part, but it's like one of those situations like, is he the guy moving forward, or like it's best to make that decision now, and get prepared for next season.
We'll see what happens.
But I know you heard this podcast on your favorite podcast platform. But if you didn't, you can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com. Not only to hear this episode, but all of the previous ones. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we continue going over the Olympics that I know you don't want to hear about, free agency, and NFL news. But we're here Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll always hear the news, you'll hear our analysis, but don't you ever forget, you're going to hear our read.